Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. Quick disclaimer, this is the last episode before World War I starts, so stay tuned. Anyway, last episode we saw the first Colonial War take place, and, well, judging the name, there will probably be a second Colonial War. We have a lot of border disputes everywhere, however, I do have one more thing I would like to show you guys, well, a few more things. Number one, I finished the provinces of the world, except for India is claimed down here, but we have provinces over here in Australia, but specifically North America, and I'm sure you guys can recognize some states, especially over here in the Midwest. That's just because of rivers. So yeah. But anyway, starting out in this episode is going to be very, very exciting. I think we're gonna start off over here in France, in South France. I'm gonna turn off the province map. So France and South France. South France broke away from France like a few episodes back, maybe 8 episodes back, in episode 10 or so, or 9. I don't know. But they broke away from them, but they are on good terms now. Obviously, they're not really close friends or anything, but they're able to like negotiate and stuff like that. But they are about to negotiate, so let's see how that goes down. But before we do this, I'll have to show you guys something cool. This is a new layer called the ozone. So what can you tell from this? You can tell who has industrial zones. So red here, that means that the oh wait, that's orange. Hold on. Orange means that well, the ozone is a little bit damaged. Green means that it's not damaged at all. Red means it's pretty damaged. And then if there's just a hole, which there isn't, but if there were, it would look something like this. If there were a hole, it would look like this. But luckily there are no holes. So here is the industrial zones of the world. And then we also have a new trade route layer looking like this. The green, that is trains, so those are train routes. And then the blue is boat routes. Anyway, so over here, South France and France will make negotiations. So if we pull up the ozone, we can see the provinces that aren't included inside of the industrial area. And that is exactly what South France will be taking in this negotiation. So France does this to make some money, and well, South France gets all of this, meaning that there is no longer a border between France and Rome. I don't know if that's scary or better, but anyway. No, there's still a border, just in Africa. So, about the industrial zone, in the industry, it sprouted west in Spain, France, and Catalonia, and it is now moving east. It has reached all the way over to India, maybe red only, but eventually it will reach all the way east into China and Korea. However, that will probably be delayed just a little bit because of a certain next episode, and then the episodes following. Anyway, moving down south here, China is going to do some exploring around here, and there's no white. China is going to end up landing over here inside of New Zealand, and they're going to explore everything here. Now, normally they would take New Zealand, however, they are trying to grow their diplomacy, so they're going to go up to Vietnam, because if you remember the Blocking Conference, that divided all of Oceania. This is part of Oceania, and China knows that, so they're going to ask Vietnam, hey, can we take this over? And Vietnam will say yes because they are, literally the only logical country to take it over. So now we have New Zealand going over to China, filling in the entire eastern side of the world, except for Antarctica, but that's irrelevant for like a long time. So isn't that crazy? So the world is now fully discovered except for the Amazon, Antarctica, and a few small islands here and there. Now moving over here, we have this new Brazilian country, I guess, called Venezuela. So we have Venezuela right here. They are a breakaway from African Union. They are going to be trading with India and Spain, but mainly India. And while they're mostly going around here, they're going to end up starting to explore further and further into the Amazon until eventually there's like nothing left. So now, with only just a little bit left in the world to explore, eventually the Amazon will be fully discovered. I don't know if it's too realistic for that to happen, but I'm sick of the gray spots on my map. So that's fully discovered. And now, for the first time in history, besides Antarctica and a few islands, anyway, for the first time in history, there's nowhere left in the world to discover. But now, it's time for the Second Colonial War. Or, the better name, in my opinion, the War for America. The first war was called something. I don't know, but it lasted from 1846 to 1848. The year is now 1851. This war is known around the world as the War for America. And it will start up. My bad, everything just glitched out for a second. Where was I? The Colonial War, right? Okay. So, if you remember the very end of last episode, the Siberian Union, who could not hold on to Alaska because they're just a bit too poor, was going to sell it, and they decided to sell it to Norway after a bit of a bidding war. And you can see by this line, Korea has a claim over it. Korea is very, very mad about this, about the Siberian Union not giving them this land. So, they're not going to declare the war on the Siberian Union. They're just going to declare war on Norway, so that way they can try and get this land. So they're going to declare war on them, and they're going to start off by moving around down here in the south, because this is, less cold. However, they're still going to move in on all fronts. And also, they're going to use these trade routes to their advantage. They're going to be riding trains everywhere. So this is a bit of modern warfare tactics. Where they ride trains taking over a bunch of land, and just like that, they have a few encirclements, so they're going to take over all this stuff in here, and then move in here as they take over all of this. But we are not having a colonial war just between Korea and Norway. Instead, also, down here in the south, France and Spain both have claims over Korea. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to both declare war on Korea almost at the same time, only like about a month apart. Not a week, I meant. But we're going to start off by seeing Spain move on into Korea, and they're going to start off by taking over some of this land. Korea will move a lot of troops into the French territory here, and they're going to start by taking over this entire portion of land here, and then they're going to keep on sweeping down through here. They almost have a full border. Oh god, they almost have a full border dispute under their control. But just next to this, France is also taking a lot of land. And we're not done just yet, because Ireland is also declaring war on both France and Norway. So Ireland's going to move into France here, taking over multiple different things and using the Great Lakes to their advantage. They also make a landing right here, which is right next to a major city. Let me turn the major cities on. So they already have two major cities right here under almost control. And then they've also taken over one right here, and they're going to expand on that to make sure that it doesn't get captured back. But I also said they declared war on Norway. How's that going for them? Well, it's going pretty well. Their goal and motivation here is to try and get rid of them. However, Norway will also be pushing in to them from up here. And Norway will also push in right here. And as you can see, this war is off to a crazy start. Also, don't forget to not forget about the Navy. So here's our Navy of the world, and let's see how these guys fight up against each other. Right now we have Ireland having multiple landings and attacks inside of the Great Lakes, but they're also being encircled in by the Norwegian Navy up north. They're being squeezed in pretty well here. And let's take a break from this and go over to the Middle East. Hey, Red. So, we know that you guys can't colonize. We know that Rome couldn't colonize. But then they did the Crete Conference. But you weren't invited to the Crete Conference. Are you mad about that? Yes, you're mad about that? Okay, that's what I thought. So Red is very, very mad that they're not able to go and attack them. First of all, they can't attack Blue because of Blue or Catalonia or Poland because of the African Protection Statement, African Safety Statement. I don't remember what I called it. Can't attack Russia because that's just it's hard. It's they're really good. India, good trade partner, and then also just hard to attack. Gold, they don't even share a border with them really. Green, that's gonna be a big haul on you. Ukraine and Cyan. Those guys, they're hard to make. What? Those are your allies. Which they use only orange, but orange is in a secret defensive pact with Rome. But no one knows that, so that's their only option. However, if they were to attack, Rome does have a defensive pact, but Red would most likely not attack Orange, in my opinion, because they're not a threat. But anyway, back to over here. Let's check out on the Navy again. So there's big fighting over here in the Gulf of Mexico. And the, whatever they're called. The Spanish are pushing up good against the French. They have a good front line against them. And what they're, but then also we have fighting happening everywhere. So what the Spanish are trying to do is just push up into, Florida, so that way they can get a land attack on France. Oh, I don't think I said that they declared war on each other. Well, they did. And this front line is absolutely frozen, like last time. These are two completely evenly matched things. They're not able to fight here. This front line is also a stalemate. But this front line here is not a stalemate, and Spain is making multiple attempts to try and push into the land here to go and attack it. But then they get another idea as to how they can affect Korea. They have 3 islands out here, and they're going to use these to stage a naval attack on Hawaii. So they're going to form a spearhead shooting outwards, and this spearhead will go very, very far. This is a lot of their navy right now, just shooting out here. And right now, it's making its way all the way up. And it finally hits up against Korea's navy here. I mean, Korea in Hawaii. Um, and they start moving in. So Spain is going to try and move in. However, with a lot of their navy over here, that will allow for Korea to push in a lot. While they're able to push in inside of the Baja Gulf, they're unable to actually land just yet. They've made multiple attempts to land, however, they're being gunned down over here. And by the way, we're at about World War One technology in our world. So there are tanks, like first time using them. There's some grenades and stuff like that. Just want to say that. So there are artillery strikes, just not really powerful artillery strikes. That Korea is sending on to Spain. And after many attempts, they finally end up landing inside of Spain, and they take over this major city immediately. And then they split this in two, cutting off this from up north, and that allows Korea to fight back against them, dismantling that entire group up there, and then chasing them through here. They get chased all the way down to here, and Spain decides to pull their navy out from over here, and they bring their navy all the way back to land. And just like that, Hawaii stays untouched, and honestly, Hawaii is completely unrelated to Korea in most terms, just because of how little Korea pays attention to it. This is the place with the highest unrest and most independence wanted, because, you know, they don't really relate to Korea at all. Yeah, I mean, they're Korean ethnicity, which is a little bit outdated, this map, because there's no, oh god, there's no Africa, but it's not so outdated. Oh, I changed, India's color to brown because it looked a little bit too much like, Rome, so I just changed it, but that's about it. So yeah, this is outdated. Anyway, sorry, I don't know why I'm getting so off track. Over here, inside of America, France will continue pushing into Korea, making multiple attempts to get over to here, which does in fact work, and they push back into their territory from Korea's territory. And they split up all of their units, and all of their units kind of just spread out. And all of these units just start spreading out from these areas, and they're shooting out to separate areas to go and attack. These ones are going for the population center down over here. But we don't know if they're going to be able to get there because a big portion of the Korean army gets there and they cut off the supply line and then absolutely slam right into these guys and start pushing them back. This secret mission has been, it failed. But they continue pushing back against the French army here, pushing them all the way out of their territory in these places, and then all the way back to here. France makes an attempt, and it is a successful attempt, at cutting off this small, big portion of Korean troops off from the rest of the country, and it works. After this, we see the rest of Korea get kicked out of whatever this place is called, France. Oh my god, Jesus. But France continues pushing in, this time with another front. Moving back up north, Korea and Norway are fighting in these frozen waters, and they don't really do much. I mean, Korea gets an island, but that's about it. Ireland is pushing in through here, trying to reach over to this island here, which should be successful according to their scientists, and it does end up being successful, and they're going to make a naval landing there. They had to do that to make sure that they could, land here. Back over here, last time France and Spain were not able to fight here because of the agreement that they had with Catalonia. This is outdated just a little bit. Hold on. Anyway, but this time they're going to actually fight because they don't care anymore. So Spain is going to send their navy out, and France wasn't expecting this because they thought they had a deal with Catalonia, but they are going to send out their navy either way. And they're going to clash out in the middle of the Gulf here, the Gulf of Brittany, I guess. And they're going to keep on pushing down, and this might have been a mistake by the Spanish, but they're going to be able to push back. And it's at this point that there is a bit of a frozen line here. No one's able to move forward. I mean, there are small advancements, like right here. There's a small advancement. And then right here, but that immediately gets pushed back. But then France pushes this all the way back down to here, and then Spain pushes that all the way back up. And Spain tries to make an advancement, but that's immediately blocked out. So as you can see, this front line is like not really moving. It's just frozen. It's just making a bunch of different unsuccessful movements. But where there is a successful movement in this little war between these two is over here, and that is when Spain lands on Florida, and that quickly overwhelms the Navy here as they take over the rest of the outskirts of Florida, and they finally move on in. They move up and they start attacking. However, with the French Navy surrounding them, they quickly get attacked on all sides, and after this happens, they get pushed in, and after that, that doesn't really end well for them. The French chase them all the way down to this major city right here, and this is where the last of the Navy military thing, whatever, fights, as also the French Navy chases them down as well. The French Navy makes multiple attempts to cut these guys off, but the final one happens. And after all of this, the front line between France and Spain is frozen for the rest of the war, except for, this happening. And as you can see, they have nowhere to escape, so that just means that they all died. So that's kind of sad, but whatever. Spain now focusing mostly not on France because, well, they have a truce. They signed a truce in Catalonia, which means that this front line is dead, and so is this front line. But they signed a truce for the rest of the war, knowing that, hey, both wars we've tried fighting each other, and both wars nothing happened to each other. So why don't we just sign a truce? But with Spain now focusing mainly on Korea, they're going to push them all the way out of their country, and they make it all the way up to Baja, or I mean all the way up to northern Baja, and they start attacking into this border dispute that they have, and they push all the way around and finally claim this entire border dispute that they claim. But they're not done there, as they're going to keep on moving and to try and get more stuff. France is going to keep on pushing up through here, however, Korea is not quite done yet, as they're also going to push into France. They make their second advancement into this area. This time it's a lot more successful than the last time, as they start their massive encirclement here, cutting off these guys here. These guys are part of this, so technically they're connected. But these guys are now being encircled inward. Korea pushes France all the way back to the border here, and they basically did a switcheroo. Korea is fighting France in France's lands, and France is fighting Korea in Korea's lands. This thing here, yeah, that's gone now. Both sides are too scared to move, and they don't make any advancements. Neither of them want anything that is up here, so that's safe. They are fighting over here, however, no one is able to make any advancements once again. Up here, Ireland continues moving into America, or, I mean, France. And Ireland moves in with ease because, well, whatever. But eventually, they do end up starting to get pushed back. However, they don't get pushed back all the way. They get kicked out of all of these lands here. So they get kicked out of Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, and this little area right here. And then there's more naval battling that happens where they get pushed all the way back to here and all the way back to here. Korea in the final days of the war continues. Oh god, we're not on the right layer. Korea in the final days of the war continues pushing into Norway, and Norway doesn't know what to do as they are being overwhelmed greatly by Korea. And it is at this day, in the good old June 26th of the year 1852, the war lasted about 9 months, wait, hold on, let me do this math. The war started September 30th of 1851, and it ended June 26th of 1852, lasting about 9 months, like I said. But they all come to an agreement to go to peace, and they all meet up in Venezuela's capital to be specific, and they sign a peace treaty to figure out the borders of New America. So let's see what will happen. First of all, let's take a good look at the province map so you guys can get an idea of this. But let's first settle a few things that are simple. So this is given over to Korea, but then the rest of this is given over to France. This all here is given to Korea, and that is the trade-off between these guys. Down here with Spain, first of all, the Spanish will get this right here, and then they will create a new province right here, and the Spanish are going to end up taking over all of this. Now, that is all of the things between these three guys. Now we're going to move up north to the harder ones, I guess. So, first of all, we have the, this all getting taken over here. So, first of all, Ireland will, oh, whoa, hold on. First of all, Ireland will take over all of this here, including, New York. It's funny, that's basically New York City. I mean, it is a good place, you know, there's, like, all that there. Anyway, this up here is unorganized territory, so they're just going to carve a few provinces out of it. That's kind of like your punishment for not making your territory organized. So they're going to make 2 new provinces. However, these will soon be erased and shoved into this province up here, making this province even bigger. And then all of this will be annexed into Ireland's territory. Moving north, however, the front lines here will not move because Ireland and Norway decide to come to an agreement. Same with this one right here because, you know, of what's about to happen up here. But what will move is the front lines over here, as Ireland will take over this singular province right here, turning their borders from this into this. And now it's time for the big part. Will Korea end up getting all of Alaska or not? They will. Korea gets all of Alaska inside of this peace treaty, turning Norway's, you know, colonies up here insanely small, or at least insanely a lot smaller. But that is the only portion of the peace. That's only the first portion of this peace treaty. The second portion is the fact that all border disputes will have to be given up and recognized. So first, Spain will have to recognize Florida as French. This is a pretty old border dispute since episode 14. This one will also have to be recognized. So there we go with all of that. Then Korean ones will have to be recognized. So that Korea will have to drop their border disputes. Same with right here. France will have to drop their border disputes. Korea will have to drop their border disputes over here in Spain. France will have to give up their border dispute over here near Texas, just south of it, in Chihuahua. I'm pretty sure this is Chihuahua about there. Spain will also have to recognize the Yucatan, Cuba, and I think that's all of the border disputes. But now, America is, well, these are the borders of America. I have a good feeling that they won't stay like this for long. I don't know. But after this war, a little bit more will happen. Ireland is now looking for some more land to try and grab. And luckily, well, South America is here. Not for long, though, because Spain is going to move in. Spain moves in and takes over all of this. Not actually. I'd take it back. They don't take all that. They end up taking over all of this here. India will take a lot of land. When I say a lot, I do, in fact, mean a lot of land. However, there is still a lot more land left. What is that? Well, first of all, Ireland's going to move in. And Ireland's going to take over all of this. Jeez. They're also going to take over all these islands down here. And eventually, this island here will be found. But there is still just a little bit of land left. What is this going to? Well, you see, all across the Americas, there are refugees, people who don't like being ruled by countries that are continents away. So they're going to make a refugee state in the only land that is left in the world, only livable land that is left in the world, right here. They're going to move in right here, and they're also going to take this island right here. And just like that, the world is full. This is a crazy experience right now. 17 episodes in, and the world is completely filled. It's mostly thanks to Europe, but it's also thanks to Eastern Asia. Wow, look at all that. Shut up, Antarctica. Oh my god. Look at how great all of this looks, man. It's beautiful. Shut up, Antarctica. But this new state here, it kind of introduces anti-colonialism, which is the first of its kind, except for over here in Tibet. They don't like colonialism. That's probably just because they're landlocked and they're mad about it. But this is the first anti-colonial state, and, well, that's about it. But we're going to move back to red. Like I said before, they are unable to move anywhere. And with nowhere else to move in the world, that means that the age of expansion, or I guess the age of colonialism, is over. The only way you can gain land now is through war. The age of colonialism, or the age of colony, or whatever, the age of colonies the age of colonialism. Oh my god, I can't decide on it. The age of colonialism is over. And now we move into the age of power. Red is going to attack Orange. Red, with nowhere else to expand, and they're a pretty imperialist country, is going to move into Orange territory and start attacking them. They're going to make a small militia over here, or not militia, a small few platoons attack over here, and then a few attack down south. Orange, now being attacked, is going to make a call to arms to their ally. They are going to activate their military pact, their secret military pact that no one in the world knew about until now. And with that, they will form a military alliance against Red. They will form the Anti-Red Alliance, or just the Triangle Alliance. And to clap back, Red will form the Diamond Alliance, or the Pro-Red Alliance. In the next episode, multiple countries will join each alliance. And, we'll see the World War One kick off. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys are excited for World War One starting. That's pretty cool. This is coming out just after Colonial Warfare Part 1, I believe. So make sure to like both of them. Comment down any ideas that you have. It might be post World War One that they have to happen, unless you want to implement something into World War One. If I can do it, I have a lot of it planned out already. But World War One is supposed to be a very exciting era. I'm super excited for this. But yeah, we have our pro-Red Alliance and our anti-Red Alliance, and in the next episode, we'll build off of that. We'll build off of the attack here and the attack around the rest of the world that's going to be happening, and the alliances building. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Make sure to comment down any ideas you have below. Like, subscribe. We just hit 100 subscribers the day that I recorded this, actually. I'm going to post a special for that, I think. But that's it. And until next time, see ya.